Gemma, what about a new album? What's happening?
I know, well,
Oh, you
don't
say
ask
that, you
me.
know, as though you should have one. You shouldn't have one yet necessarily, you know.
I'm thinking about it though.
Yeah.
I actually wrote out an album plan where I record the album in September, but I actually haven't written it yet.
Oh, you haven't written anything yet?
No.
Can you not write on the road? Do you not write on the road?
I tried to, and all I wrote about was being on the road. I think we had this conversation before.
But that's not a bad thing.
No, but...
Some of the best out His Year by Joni Mitchell is our best. Every single song is about being on the road.
Yeah.
R.E.M. have an album in '96, all on the road. Brilliant.
I guarantee you there'll be a few songs about being on the road, but I'm trying to avoid all of it being about on the road.
Have you had a good time on the road, Gemma?
Brilliant time. Brilliant time. I mean, I've had some crap times as well, but like on a whole, sort of standing back, it was great fun. We had a few psycho moments with people and stuff like that.
As one does sometimes in life, yeah. Okay, but I mean, like, the album that you're still playing, I suppose I'd call it that, is an album that we're going to see live on stage at Witness, which we didn't see live on stage last year at Witness.
Why was that?
I wonder why was that, Jim? I mean, like, the best of all was, I don't know if you can remember, you were supposed to play on the Rising stage, and the Rising stage sank.
I know.
Which is brilliant. Did you seriously drive from Switzerland to Dublin and back again? You came over to do a gig that didn't happen, all the way down to Ferry House it was, or Punchestown, whatever. Where are we now? Punchestown, yeah, Ferry House. It didn't happen, you drove straight back to Switzerland?
Drove back to France.
Really?
So I was supposed to just go from Switzerland to France, but we got the thing to do Witness. So we drove, I don't fly, I hate flying. So we drove right through Europe, got to Witness, like just bleary-eyed. The stage sank, I had some dinner, which was really good, by the way, and got back in a splitter van and drove to France.
Fantastic. Now that's rock and roll.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, you don't fly. You've been to the States, so you didn't drive to the States, did you?
No, I flew to the States, but I just loaded up on everything.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Right. But you're a fan of the States, I presume. I mean, like, there are those who would say that Gemma Hayes' music is more suited to, and this is, I don't care how, whatever that sounds, the States than it would be, say, to Britain or even mainland Europe or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was my first tour.
Well, you agree with that, do you?
See, it's a weird thing. Like, it was my first time playing there, and we filled the place every night, and people were just open to it.
Yeah.
You know, I think they just went, female songwriter, let's go and check her out, and they were just sort of open to it. I find in England sometimes there's a lot of people stand there and they kind of wait.
Impress
or something.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
As opposed to let's have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And with America, it was just really good fun and kind of easy or something.
Okay, 4:35 a.m. the first EP and Work to a Calm, very different. Was that deliberate?
Nope.
That just happened that way? Like the two sides of Gemma Hayes in one blast before the first album?
No, I actually just made all that up afterwards because everybody kept saying, you know, it showed two sides of your music. So I went, oh, okay, fine, if it did that. The first one was, we had a very small budget to go into the studio. So it was just easier to make it acoustic. It was kind of cheaper. And then the second time around, because the first EP went so well, the record label gave us more cash, so I could just bring in more of the band.
Right.
And it was really more of a practical thing. But I went along with the story. But I'm telling you the truth now.
No, that's all right, that's okay, that's no problem. Okay, so why not, you know? Father Dave here, we'll listen to anybody's confession. Cool. So what happens, like, I mean, Dave Friedman, like, when you get involved with a guy like that, who is a musician I presume that you have admired the work of in the past on record, and you say, yeah, I work with this guy, what happens? Did you go to New York to do with him, or did he do it here? No,
I went there. I actually, yet again, the record label didn't want me to use him because he was seen as too much of a cult producer, you know. I think they wanted a big, shiny name. So I actually sent him a demo myself and gave him my home number and just went, look, if you're into it, please ring me. And he did. And it was just really casual. You know, I went over and met him, and he's a real family man, and he's got this little log cabin up in the woods, and that's where he records all the stuff. And it was just easy, you know. And
like, being in Buffalo, New York was like being a million miles from anywhere, was it?
It was insane, yeah. There was... I kept thinking of that film Deliverance all the time. And there was some kind of strange people as well, you know, very...
Kept thinking Deliverance, and there were some kind of strange people as well.
Yeah. But a lot of that going on, and you couldn't walk to the shop because every house had a vicious dog. And Dave Friedman's neighbour had 2 mountain lions that were just like in this cage. And it was just all very weird, but I loved it, and it was sort of kind of what I wanted as well.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Like when you write a song and like it's a sad song or whatever, melancholic, like Leonard Cohen, people say is often kind of depressing. That, but of course he isn't. He's one of the funniest guys around, etc. Do you think melancholy is underrated?
Completely. I think. I mean, people get slagged off for writing sort of melancholic music, and it's. I mean, I find it really hopeful. You know, I mean, if everybody was supposed to walk around being happy all the time, it would just bore me to death.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, you know, and I'm going to sound like a hippie, but it's a celebration of life, and it's a celebration of emotions, and it's a celebration of anything. And you have the freedom as a person to sing about whatever you like. And, you know, if people don't like it, there's another tent that you can go to.
Did your dad have a freedom to express himself on stage? He used to play keyboards in a band. I got that in quick, didn't I? Did you ever see him?
Yeah,
Did you ever see him playing? Like, did you ever go to, did you get backstage?
I did, yeah. I actually helped bring in the gear.
Really?
As well, yeah.
So you were a roadie for your dad?
He was an
Shocker.
absolute genius. He used to pre-record all the songs into the keyboard. So he'd get up on stage and he'd just like press play and it'd all play for him. So he'd be sitting there like drinking his pints and didn't have to do a thing.
Where? Like in local bands in Tipperary, is it?
Yeah, all around Tipperary. But the weird thing about him was the two of them, it was like a two-piece. And they used to dress up as cowboys. They'd like dress with
the White Stripes?
Yeah, no, completely. The like matching shirts.
So that's where Jack White went.
But they'd play like foxtrots and waltzes.
All right.
So they looked like one thing, but they sang the other, which is, I think, I got a little bit of that from him. Everybody expects sort of, you know, rolling hills.
So your dad was kind of Ireland's kind of Frank Zappa, Captain Beefheart, without really knowing it.
Yeah, exactly. He'll probably, you know, it'll be long after he's gone.
Can people read too much into your music? And if I was to say, listen, was that first album of yours a journey of self-discovery, Gemma? Are we going, oh, hold on, Dave? Or was it? What was it? I mean, can it be? Like, there you are sitting writing songs alone, whatever. You have lots of experiences to write about. You went as a student, your family of 8, Ballyporeen, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, you write about whatever and this is you.
Yeah.
So it was a journey of self-discovery, or was it?
Well, it was, but it's just one of the things you do and you don't really sort of give it a post-mortem. You know, that's the thing that I wasn't expecting making the album, was you just make the album and things come out and you just vomit up all this stuff and you write about it and it's just there, and then suddenly you have to dissect it and talk about it and explain things. And some of it, I just wrote it, you know, and actually the meaning came afterwards.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And sometimes I actually had something to say and I'd say it, but I don't have, like, I don't have a trick that I use all the time.
Okay, but how different is it all when you play it live? I mean, like, if it's just Gemma Hayes with a guitar, is that something a lot more difficult, or is that the intimacy of something that you like compared to Gemma Hayes' band?
I love both of them. I mean, if I was to do the acoustic stuff, there's no way I could play half the album.
Yeah.
You know, I just couldn't. So I'd make it acoustic and just do all the folky side. But I get bored quite easily, and that's why I have to have the two. If it was rocking all the time, I'd get bored as well.
Yeah.
So it's good. It kind of keeps me interested.
Well, like a couple of years back, it was a Witness, probably the first Witness I mentioned. There was like, I don't know if you'd signed anything that I can't remember, but there was record company interest all around the time of the Gemma Hayes thing and that. You said no a few times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there with a guitar coming out from Ireland whose name isn't necessarily known. If there was record company interest, they wouldn't say no. So does that mean that you're, you know, exactly what you wanted? You were headstrong, or you just, you know, I want...
Well, it's either headstrong or really stupid. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I mean, it was just, I just didn't like what they were saying. You know, a lot of it was about my image and how I looked, and we have to work on that more and maybe get you in with some co-writers to get more poppy stuff. And it just didn't sit right with me, you know. And then something came along that did. But it wasn't that I had this pure belief in myself. I kind of wish I did at that early stage. I didn't. But it was more just a gut feeling. It just didn't feel right to have all these people kind of harry it out.
If your next album sells 15 million and the one after it sells 20 million in that, and like the image thing is going to be like there's going to be a train of people behind you whether you like it or not, will you still be the person who's in charge of your own image, as you call it, or whatever, or non-image, or whatever you want to call it, that are just you? Or would you think somebody else might be able to take control of that because you'd be too busy and therefore you let somebody else take your life away from you?
Whoa.
It's happened to so many people, you know? There's a few Madonna types that don't let it happen to them even though they do have image people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, I've had a few stylists before and I've actually just scratched my head because I just don't understand it. You pay them money to walk you around shops that you could just do yourself. And you end up putting on clothes that you won't buy until you actually feel comfortable in it. So I don't know what they're there for. And sometimes I see people who are styled to the max and they look so uncomfortable.
But do you think image is important? I mean, don't try and tell me that one of the greatest artists of the 70s, David Bowie, whose music was fantastic, wasn't also fantastic because of his image.
No, but that was like, and like his image was amazing. It was like, I think he became Ziggy Stardust for a while.
That. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It just, there's different areas of music. For me, it's not about image. It really isn't.
No, that's not, yeah.
But Why are we asking so?
Oh, I can't remember. I have no idea. Listen, okay, so listen, so the follow-up album then will be probably by maybe September 2004?
Hoping.
Hoping?
Yeah.
Jeepers,
Yeah.
maybe 2005.
I'm going to try not. I'm going to try to keep it to March 2004. Would be brilliant.
Right.
But it'll be a short album.
It'll be a short album.
Yeah.
Will it?
Yeah.
Because you won't have enough songs.
No, no. The weirdest thing, I'm a big fan of short albums.
Oh yeah.
And I remember getting.
Yeah, there's too many long albums now, aren't there? 19 tracks and all this.
Like
Yeah.
Badly Drawn Boy,
Yeah.
amazing songs, but there's just so many songs in the album.
The R. Bewilderbeast, I must say, after the 21st song, yeah, but they were all great though.
They're all great, but
It's a bit
sometimes
long,
you just
yeah.
So I'm a big fan. Like the Blue Nile, 7 tracks,
Right.
lovely. You get the full.
The Blue Nile have 14 years in between each album. That's what
you go.
Gemma really talked about. Gemma, thanks a million for talking to us again.
Cheers.
Thanks a million.